Get home from school, turn on my TV. Who are these friends staring right back at me? Now that we're old.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Jessica, and this is 90s Babies Nostalgia, where two 90s babies are having some fun.
Just to be clear, we are not sponsored by nor affiliated with anyone, anything, any actors, any TV studios that we talk about. We just really like talking about TV. And today, the TV we are talking about is
Exo Kitty!
Season 2, because that's right. Strikes be damned. Well, actually, we support union workers, but we have finally made it past the long wait for all of our favorite shows to come back. And so after over a year, Exo Kitty Season 2 has come out. And we had to cover it because we talked about the first one.
And if you didn't catch that episode at all, go back and listen to our June 2024 Pride Edition episode, which is a really fun episode where we just chatted about a lot of things, but Exo Kitty was discussed.
As was my being serenaded by Haley Kiyoko. So you should go listen to it. Yes. I did have a little fun story for you before we got started, but I don't know if you know it already. I feel like you might. So you know that the actress that plays Yuri and the actor that plays Minho are siblings. Did you know that she got the audition first and then she recommended him as like, you should also go out for this? And he got like fast track. She was like auditioning for months, but he got his part first. But they didn't tell the casting director that they were siblings until like they both had been offered the parts, with fully like not knowing if they could potentially accidentally be love interests. And they were like that. They were just hoping that that was the only thing that didn't happen, which honestly, when you think about what the show is, that's risky.
Yeah, that's very ballsy because everyone is everyone's love interest. So as Amanda mentioned, we had to wait about 2 years, year and a half for season 2. So season 1 aired May 18th, 2023. And it follows Kitty Song Covey from the To All the Boys I Loved Before series on her journey to Korea to learn more about herself and her mom. And season 2 premiered January 16th, 2025. It debuted number 2 on Netflix English TV with 14.2 million views. It has then in the US skyrocketed up to 1 and stayed at number 1 for quite a few days as well. It was filmed in Seoul and it was created by Jenny Han. She's also the EP and showrunner.
But whereas To All the Boys I Loved Before those movies were based on books that Jenny Han wrote because she started as an author, there's no source material for Exo Kitty. She just created it as Netflix was like, this is a fun character. You guys want to spin off? And so that makes it extra fun because it's just, you have no idea what's coming and it's chaos. Our main cast includes, if you don't know, Kitty Song Covey, hyphenated, kind of, maybe, I don't know, two last names, parents, multiculturalism, played by Anna Cathcart, who is currently 21. She just graduated from my alma mater. Not to dox myself. That's fine. I live very elsewhere. Dae Kim, who was her boyfriend in the first season and now is just her friend, played by Choi Min-young, who's 22. Minho Moon, who is his best friend, is played by Sang Hun Lee, who is 28. Then we have Q, who is Kitty's best friend. He's gay. And that's of note. And he's played by Anthony Keevan, who's 24. And then we have Yuri Han, played by Jia Kim, which, if you're wondering, that's not the same last name as her brother. It's a stage name. Jia Kim is a stage name. And she's a 32.
She doesn't look 32.
No, she doesn't look 18 or younger as she's playing.
Yeah.
But it's not out of reach.
Agreed.
Yeah. Same with, Sang Hun Lee is like, he looks so young. He does not look 28 to me. No. And then we have Juliana, played by Reagan Aaliyah, who is 25. She had just a couple small cameos in the first season, and now she's main cast.
And then new additions or expanded roles for season 2 include Stella, who is a new roommate of Kitty's, played by Audrey Wynn, who's 19. Young Moon, who is Minho's dad, who comes to teach at Kiss, is played by Philippe Lee. Pravina, who is just another student with them at Kiss, is played by Sasha Bason. Jin, we will talk about Jin. I'm not even going to describe him yet. He's another student. He's an athlete. He's played by Joshua Lee. Then we have Junho, who is Minho's brother, who has a pretty small role in this season on screen, but is talked a lot about. And he's played by Peniel Shin.
I think that's how it's pronounced, and I really just needed to include him in the cast because he's from B2B, and if you know K-pop, you know B2B.
Then we have Eunice, who was in season 1, but in a very small role, and that role has been expanded in season 2, played by Hanbi Roo. And then Jiwon, who is Kitty's cousin, is played by Hojo Shin. And then also of note, we get 2 cast members from To All the Boys that come and do little cameos in this season. So we get Noah Centineo as Peter Kavinsky, as well as Janelle Parrish as Margot.
Season 2. First of all, we're starting off with the cliffhangers from season 1, of which chaos. I wrote it as Kitty likes Yuri and Minho declares his love to Kitty, and also Kitty's been expelled for living in the boys' dorm. Did you have any predictions on where these would pick up in season 2? I mean, I think we all knew like Kitty wasn't going to be expelled. Did you have a theory as to how or why?
No, I didn't have a theory I just knew that she wasn't going to. And I knew she had enough of a story to why too, because it's like they had proof that her previous roommate was literally filming her while sleeping. So I feel like she could claim that it was unfit living conditions because she did bring that up and was told to just deal with it. So I was like, even if it escalated to that point, which it did not, there was a much easier solution. I was like, she has a reason to still stay at Kiss and not get kicked out.
Yeah, I think that implies a needed like Korean legal system protection of people and also like a knowledge of that. I don't know if that exists or not. That particular like this is an unfit living condition, but maybe the school would have
minor?
ethics. True, actually, you can't film people in Korea without their consent. That is actually a thing. You see videos of people in public and they blur people's faces a lot. So yeah, that's fair. I think myself and a lot of people saw Yuri on the phone at the airport and assumed she was like begging her mom to let Kitty back in. What about Yuri and Minho though? How'd you feel about that?
So I think we knew, right? You end with Juliana there at the airport. So you know that Yuri's still with Juliana. So you expected that going into this season. But I knew something had to happen with Yuri and Kitty, but I knew we weren't going to get answers right away. Minho, I thought that something would happen between the two of them sooner. Like, I didn't expect her. No, but in season 2, I expected there to be something maybe right off the bat, which does not happen. Just because he's like hot and like, hello.
Yeah, she hates him.
Yeah. And she's very much like, we're better off as friends. Like, she really puts her foot down. It's like, I can't do that today, which is fair.
I don't even know that she sees him as a friend at that point, but she definitely does in season 2.
Yeah.
He is a very good friend to her. And starting off season 2, I just need to briefly touch on the Korean school system, the fact that it's January, all of the things. So I did mention to Jess earlier to please remember that Seoul is it's comparable to New York in winter. And they're walking around in skirts and short sleeves. They're having track meets in tiny crop tops, tiny little shorts. Not a snowflake in sight, not a puffer coat visible to my human eyes.
No hats, no scarves, no gloves.
Absolutely not. And not a puffy breath. So I'm assuming they just like filmed this when it was, because Korea's either, if you don't know, Korea's either freezing cold or raging hot. Like there's 2 weeks in between each season. So I'm assuming they just filmed it like in the summer to accommodate Anna's school schedule, and it was way too hot for them to be wearing puffer coats. But it really did take me out. Also, this is an international school, so they might have made a conscious choice to, I mean, obviously the showrunners did, but theoretically, were this a real school, they could have made a conscious choice to follow the American semester system of like a fall semester and then a spring semester being an academic year. But in Korea, the school year, your grade year starts in January, and winter is the long break. You get like a few weeks off in summer, and then the second semester of the year is the fall, and then you get like a month off in winter. So it doesn't really make sense.
No. Also, if anyone's wondering, Amanda lived in Korea for a couple years, so that is where a lot of this knowledge is coming from.
And taught at a Korean school.
Yes. So we kick off with first days of the new semester. Kitty's goes in thinking she's living in a single, which that confused me because the whole thing the semester before, when she tried to get out of her shitty rooming situation, was the fact that there was no other rooms. There was no place to put her. So I'm like, why does she think she gets to have a single room if there's no space?
I kind of, from her conversation, like, I forgot there was a whole ass cheating scandal as well in season 1, but it's like mentioned in this conversation with the principal because he was like talking about low enrollment or something. Lots of people expelled, which hilariously, that cheating scandal is not even mentioned in the recap. But I'm like, if there's low enrollment, then like there should be the space, but then they don't have the money because of the low enrollment. And that's why she gets put in the triple or quad. No, the quad.
Yeah.
But I was like, there's not a double. And also, you're on a scholarship. No scholarship kid gets a single. That's where I was confused.
Yeah. So she's in a quad, and her roommates are Yuri, Juliana, and this new girl, Stella, who's from Ohio. And immediately all the girls are like, she has weird vibes. Something about her energy is off.
But they don't suspect too much because she's really just a homeschooled Bible thumper.
True. But they do make comments off the bat. They're like, something about her energy is strange. Also, at the beginning of this season, I think in episode 1, Kitty does come out to Yuri as bi. And Yuri's like very supportive. She's like, we gotta get you on a date. Like, you go, girl. And is like all about it.
No suspicions.
No.
Even though they almost kissed in season 1.
Yes. Then that's where we meet Pravina at school, who is like a new, I guess, lesbian. Do we know if she's a lesbian?
I don't know.
But she immediately starts flirting with Kitty, asks her out to this like dance club night at a queer club in Seoul. And of course, I don't know why Kitty didn't think this, but Juliana and Yuri are there. And the whole time she's like not paying attention to Pravina, which is pissing off Pravina, because she's just distracted by Yuri.
I just thought it was so funny that it took Kitty so long to realize that she was bi and then immediately got clocked by another queer woman, like in class.
Yeah.
When she's looking just like herself. I was like, I wish it were that easy. Like, Pravina has incredible gaydar. I've never seen anything like it. Like,
True.
Kitty hardly knows what she is.
This is true. This is true.
Just incredible. But yes, Pravina, like, she doesn't like that Kitty is like not spending time with her. She's clearly hung up on Yuri and Juliana in that situation. But I will say she does still give Kitty too much time.
I think she gives Kitty the benefit of the doubt, which I don't think Kitty deserves.
So true. Because Kitty's lying to mostly herself. More than anyone else.
She's a chaos queen.
She is. One of my notes that I didn't put in this, but while I was reading through, was theory unlocked. Kitty is more chaotic than Bella of Sex Lives of College Girls, if you don't know. And I kind of think she is. She's so messy.
Yeah.
But I do really love, I put my note here, that this whole cast, like, I just imagine everyone's casting call is like must have chemistry with Anna Cathcart, who is the youngest of the cast also, which is kind of strange because she was also like still a teenager when they filmed the first season. She was like 18. But it's very funny that she just like has a million love interests and is like into all of them. And I know the actress that plays Pravina said she did like all of her stuff over Zoom, her reads, but even over Zoom she had a chemistry read with Anna Cathcart and her feedback was, we really like how much you made her flustered.
I love that. Also, Kitty, in this first semester starting at school, everything's kind of getting worked out. You know, Kitty is trying to work past having feelings for Yuri since she has to live with her and Juliana, and they're literally making out all the time. All the time. And she's really struggling with it. And she goes to vent to Q about this because she's like, I'm really struggling with this. And who freaking is right behind her except Principal Lee?
Who, by the way, is the principal now because Yuri's mom, who was the principal in season 1, decided that her divorce was too messy and to just fuck off.
Correct. So now he's the principal. He overhears Kitty talking about this and is basically like, you guys have to figure this out, but like you can't both live in the dorm if you're dating. Like that's not okay. So then Yuri moves out, goes back home. Juliana stays in the dorm. So now it's the 3 of them.
Other things that we get in these first couple of days back at KISS. Again, they've had a normal North American winter break. They've been gone for roughly 2 weeks, maybe. I think it's mentioned like a week. And yet Alex, who is a professor, might I add, who they've all been calling Alex since they met him in season 1. I forgot who this man was, threw me the fuck out, forgot his whole thing. He's already calling Principal Lee dad. He's calling him dad. These are 2 grown men with real big jobs. And he has parents. He was adopted. And he made a whole thing about not looking for parents, just answers. And now in a week's time, he's going, oh, dad's over there in a mood.
Yeah.
It's not even like an awkward dad. It's like a very natural dad.
Yeah.
It was very strange.
It's out of place. It doesn't feel realistic.
Alex feels not real in this season to me. I like him a lot in season 1, but in season 2, he just feels, I don't know, weird.
I think that they added so many new characters that like really move the plot along that they still kept him, but he doesn't really serve a big purpose in this season.
Yeah, I agree. He doesn't serve the plot the way that he did in season 1.
Yeah.
So they just kind of diminished his screen time. Also, Kitty makes a comment about how her Hangul still sucks, and Q is like, mine's not great either. And I'm like, I get. That was a crunchy chip. I'm like, I get that maybe your Korean's not the best. And hilariously, Kitty's Korean is absolutely atrocious. Like, they all say it's atrocious, and as someone who can understand a fair bit of Korean, it's like someone pretending to be bad. It's so bad. It's like when Danielle Monet, who played Trina in Victorious, would sing, and it's like so bad. You think that they have to like know how to actually sing to then be so bad. Except Anna, her Korean's not good. But like Hangul isn't Korean. Hangul's just the alphabet, and it was literally invented to be the easiest alphabet you could possibly understand. Korean itself can be hard to learn, but Hangul is very easy. I learned it in like a week while I was employed. Next plot point.
Minho's dad, he's a professor and he has an art program and he's searching for his next superstar. He's like a K-pop manager that also has had multiple reality TV shows to find like the next K-pop superstar, but his biggest star is his son, Minho's older brother.
Do you know about like K-pop survival shows and all that?
No.
I've never seen your mouth move like that. This is a huge part. The way K-dramas are huge, the other half of Korean TV is survival shows. There's every...
What do you mean by I'm imagining Survivor, but with a bunch of little K-pop boys in their little outfits dancing. Like, what's...
That's about it.
Oh!
No, It's a competition. It's a competition where people get eliminated. It can be similar to like American Idol or The Voice, but usually it depends on if they're doing an individual one or a group one, because there are individual ones, those tend to be more like indie labels run them and they're for like rappers or alt musicians. But in Korea it's really hard to be a solo artist that's really successful, so the K-pop group survival shows are like where it's at. And the most famous one that I was watching in college is Produce 101, where they literally start off with 101 girls who have all been training at different labels for at least 3 years, some of them like 7, and over a few weeks narrowed it down to 11 that could be in this group. And it was based on your singing, your image, your dancing, all of the above. And they also, all of these survival shows have like public voting.
Okay.
It's
Interesting.
a huge part of Korean culture though. So when this came out, I was like, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they call him the Kris Jenner of Korea, and I hate it.
So while this is all happening, he's teaching. All the students are required to like take one of his classes. So there's like an acting class, a dancing class, an entertainment management class, and they're all signed up for different ones. There is this huge leak, Moon leaks, of his behavior, how he's treated people poorly, things he's said in the past. And it's like all over the news. Like everyone gets push notifications while they're at school on their phone about Moon leaks. Like it blows up, and Minho's dad kind of like disappears for a few weeks. And while that's happening, this really baffled me. Principal Lee goes up to Minho at school and says, "Hey, can you talk to your dad about missing weeks of classes?" Excuse me, you're the principal. That is your employee. You go talk to him. That is not Minho's job. Like, you are the principal.
It's a really weird thing for a man who's very uptight to do. And even I was like, this is uncomfortable, unprofessional. I do think that like Principal Lee and Mr. Moon have like a weird dynamic, because the whole reason that Mr. Moon has his like performing arts program there right now is that the school is low on money from the expulsions. So he is basically just funneling money into this school with this program. So Mr. Lee is his boss, but also is he really his boss?
Enough that he can tell him you can't miss weeks of class.
But not enough that he cares.
Fair.
Pause. We are now discussing Stella.
And then we will get back to Minho's dad. Stella, the roommate that everyone thinks is a little weird. We learn she's secretly undercover, and she's in there to get revenge against Mr. Moon. And the way that she's going to do this, so she was on one of his reality TV shows when she was much, much younger. And he was just really mean. He was like the Simon Cowell energy is what he gave me. But she had a beautiful voice, but he was like, you're not pretty enough to be a star. And she like screamed out like, oh, but beauty's what's within. And then it turned into this huge viral meme. And so she wants to get revenge on him. So she gets in with Minho. She starts dating Minho. And she's using Minho to snoop around and get more information about Mr. Moon.
She uses Kitty to get to Minho first, which like, how did you end up in her dorm? And the first couple episodes, you're like, this is boring. Who is this weird little girl? And then at the end of the second episode, I think it is, she gets a call from her parents and she's like, I told you my name is Stella now. I'm not Esther. And I'm doing this because I have to, or something. And you're like, oh, okay, she's interesting now. This is going to come back. And then nothing happens with her for like 5 episodes. And you're like, there's only 8 episodes in this. Well, okay, no, it's like 2 more episodes that nothing really happens with her. And then you realize that she's evil. And she like has a look of evil when she has that phone call. And then the whole rest of the time, I'm like, why is she dating Minho? What's going on with this girl? I don't care about all of Kitty's love interests as much. Yeah, it's really just a lot. She uses him. She goes to an internet cafe. that she gets spotted at by the friends multiple times. And I cannot emphasize enough that the odds in a city of 15 million people, not including tourists, that you would run into someone walking in or out of a building. And then on top of that, that they go, oh yeah, I saw her at the internet cafe. PC bong. PC bong is the Korean word for internet cafe. Every single internet cafe is called PC bong. That's not how you confirm that she's at the right location. That's just the word for it.
That's hilarious.
Bong means room and PC means personal computer.
That's really good. I really love that.
Anyway, so yeah, they see her at this internet cafe where we see clips of her like snooping. She planted a bug in Moon's house through the ugliest motherfucking clock that he really loves, but I don't know why, because it's not related to his style whatsoever. And I'm like, girl, why a clock? Because how is he gonna put that in an important room? Like, what if he just like threw it in the back of a closet? It's an ugly fucking clock.
I think that she knew it would either end up on a desk or in a shelf in his office, which is where she wanted it to be.
I think you're giving her more credit than I am.
Okay, great. She has all this dirt, and the big dirt that she learns is that Minho's brother has knocked up one of the backup dancers. Ooh. And they're kind of like sending her away. And so that's like the big juice that she learns. And one of the things she decides is she wants to be in the competition. She's like, because the winner of the competition not only gets money, but they also get to be an opener for Minho's brother on his next tour.
And a record deal, right?
Yeah. So she's like, that's what I want. That's the ultimate revenge. And she was in the management class. She wasn't in the singer class. So she wasn't going to be part of the competition. But she convinces Minho. She's like, come on, please. Like, I need you to like tell your dad to let me in. Like, I really, really want to compete. And so he does. And then there's this cherry blossom dance. And at the cherry blossom dance, Kitty has been telling Minho for a while, hey, Stella's up to no good. Stella's up to no good. Kitty shows him this video from when Stella still went by Esther and was living in Ohio on the competition show, and the rude things Mr. Moon had said to her, and was like, this is what I think her motive is. And he doesn't believe her at first, but then he starts to kind of believe Kitty. And at the dance, after Minho got Stella the spot to compete in the competition show, Minho realizes, like, oh no, this girl's up to no good.
So we know that she doesn't look like she did in that video because, hilariously, Madison clocked her nose job. It's one of my favorite scenes probably of the whole season. And
especially when she's like, I know a nose job when I see one.
I know a rhinoplasty, even a good one. But so like we know that she doesn't look similar, and that's fine. But literally all that, it's like the tiniest little like, he says something like beauty is it's what's on the inside that matters, and she immediately is like, he knows, and spills her entire plan to him. She confessed way too quick, girl. No way are you getting out of this. Anyway, but she confesses that she was behind Moon Lakes and she knows about his brother. And so then Minho's like, oh, she threatens that if he doesn't help her, she will then disclose what she knows about his family and ruin it. So now he looks like he's being held hostage for the rest of the show. Cut to the competition. At a literal palace, I cannot stress this enough, they somehow got a permit to film at a historic palace in Seoul. Don't know which one, there's like 3, but that, yeah. Not only did Stella get into the competition, but she felt the need to sabotage everyone. She gave all the dancers food poisoning, she broke people's shoes, and to me, I'm like, if you want to get in and prove that you're the best, prove that you're the best. Don't be a little bitch about it.
Especially the confusing part to me is, it was never lack of talent. She always had talent. It was just the look. And she has the look now. So it's like, if you were confident in your talent, you could have gotten revenge by winning, going out and crushing it and winning. Mm-hmm. But instead, you felt the need to be even pettier. You already were being crazy.
Mm-hmm. But there's a really great scene where she's passing around water bottles to everyone, and Day makes the most awkward dance move to knock it out of Eunice's hands because they're dating, even though they're competing against each other.
Mm-hmm. And so all of Day's backup dancers get food poisoning at this. We're now like going back to the Minho's dad, Mr. Moon's plot. All of Day's backup dancers get food poisoning. So Kitty and Minho and Q, Jin, everyone.
Yuri, Juliana, probably Madison. Somehow Juliana shows up out of nowhere and is part of this. I think Pravina's in it.
Yeah, and they get Principal Lee to play the guitar, but they basically pull everyone together to make Day's performance actually happen.
Cannot emphasize this enough either, is that a principal taking place in one particular act competing in a school-sponsored event feels illegal.
Yeah, it does. It does.
They don't win.
They don't win, no. Do you want to talk about Day's song while we're here with Day's performance?
Justin knows a real song.
No.
It's 7 by Jungkook. It was everywhere a year ago. Jungkook from BTS. And to be clear, it is a song about sex. And Day does not have that energy. Nice voice, no stage presence.
Mm-mm. So in the end, Eunice wins, which is very cute, very exciting.
I was rooting for her.
Me too. She's a cutie.
We were all rooting for you.
Yeah. And then after that, Junho comes out on stage and they decide to take back the narrative. They're like, Stella's going to leak this. She sabotaged everyone. Oh, also they kick her out of the performance after she sabotaged everyone and are like, you cannot compete.
Because Minho and Kitty tell his dad what's up.
Yeah. And so Juno takes back the narrative. They bring the backup dancer on stage. They announce their pregnancy. He decides that he wants to be a dad, be in his kid's life. He's like super excited about it. I didn't write this note here, but I know it's somewhere here. It really made me laugh that then they announced the tour, and the tour is the Sugar Daddy tour.
That is your last note on this document, yes. Also, he always wanted to be in this kid's life. It was the dad didn't want the dancer, thinking she was like after his money. But he proposes to her on stage right before performing. And I was like, what if she said no?
Yeah, truly. Truly. Next big thing.
Unrelated entirely.
Yes. So this show is very like K-drama. So there is a lot happening constantly. In 5 minutes of the show, 47 things happen.
I have seen a couple K-dramas, and granted the ones I watched are pretty good, but this to me gives more soap opera. It's like so dramatic.
It's like K-drama meets soap opera.
Yeah. Telenovela.
Yes. Telenovelas are like on another level though. So the other big thing throughout this season and last season is Kitty trying to connect to her mom. That I wrote connecting in quotes because I was like, girl is being chaotic as hell and she's getting into like a love pentagon. Like, I don't really know if we're really focusing on connecting to our mom, Kitty Songkavi, but I guess she's trying. In this season, she learns about Simon through letters of her mom's and wants to find her family in Korea. So she learns that Simon was Eve's cousin and that when Eve went to kiss, Simon and Eve connected. And so Kitty's like, I have family here. I want to know where they live. I want to know more about them. And Kitty's learning that there is tension between her grandma and
her great aunt, her grandma.
Yeah, sister. And her grandma's sister. And so she's trying to like get to the bottom of it. Like, what happened to them? Why don't they talk? And she learns that right before her mom died, she convinced her grandma, Kitty's grandma, to go back to Korea to mend her relationship with her older sister. And she was going to bring Kitty with her, and Kitty would have been 3 at the time.
Just so you know, as much as we're spoiling about this show, we haven't scratched the surface of how she discovers all of this and the chaos with which it unfolds. It's I have more to say, but like, do you want to say anything on that?
It's just drama.
Yeah. It's a lot, but it is very sweet, and we learn about how the two older women, I think it was something about how they didn't get along with their parents, and Kitty's grandma did something that they were upset by. I don't remember what, and her sister didn't stick up for her, and then she was like kicked out and moved to America and never came back, and so there was this whole tension. But through Kitty being friends with her cousin Jiwon, who lives with her great aunt, they end up convincing, and also with Margot, they end up convincing Halmoni to come to Korea. And they have a very, very sweet, like, reuniting scene where they're both in their traditional hanbok, and they do this, like, I hadn't seen it before or heard of it, but like a traditional mourning ceremony for Eve for her mom. And I just really loved it.
I loved that scene because she goes, I should have done this when she died.
Yeah.
And it's just really, really sweet. They like hang up a photo on the mantle. There's candles lit. It's like really, really lovely.
I also just want to touch on like the silliest detail that I think exists in this whole plot line is that Kitty's great aunt is a matchmaker in the more traditional sense. And if you know anything about Kitty Songkavi, it should be that she fancies herself a matchmaker, which is something I forgot about until this detail came out. Actually, no, the first time we met the great aunt as a matchmaker, I was like, so what's the point? Why is Kitty making a big deal out of this? And then she was like, later on in the show, she was like, matchmaking Kitty strikes again. And I was like, right. Okay. She thinks she has the magic of love. She got Peter and LJ together by being a chaotic little sister who mailed out all of LJ's love letters and really did a lot more damage than that. But anyway, her great aunt's a legacy matchmaker. Legacy because it's like a family business. And I just thought this detail was like so unnecessary. Cute, so unnecessary.
I kind of love it. I thought it was really adorable. I think it's a way for her to feel more connected to her family, which is why they wrote it in. But I really liked it. Also, while all of this is happening, there's this really lovely scene where Margot tells Kitty, like, hey, everyone tells me I'm a lot like mom, but you actually are the one most similar to mom. And I think it really wraps up like why Kitty chose to go on this journey, because her mom died when she was so young, and both LJ and Margot have actual memories of Eve and Kitty just really doesn't. And so especially for Kitty to hear that like you are so similar to mom while she's been going on this journey to try to connect to her mother, I'm sure just like meant so much. It's very sweet.
There's also a mid-season point right after she first meets her great aunt, and her great aunt just like shuns her. It's very dramatic. She's in the rain. Minho's there, and she thinks that this is more Eve's fault, or Eve's, like, the family rift maybe has more to do with her mom being disobedient or something. And she says, what if I'm the worst parts of her? So then for it to come full circle with Margot made it even more, I think, impactful. Next plot point. We've got side characters. Remember we mentioned Jin, and Jess was like, I'm not even going to get into Jin. Well, now, Jessica, you may get into Jin. The character, not the drink.
So this is our first time meeting Jin. He didn't exist in last season. Kind of confusing, but whatever. He is one of the athletes with Q. They kind of have like tension, like a rivalry. Jin is like described as Q's bully. He also sabotages the race for Q.
Q refers to him when we first meet him as a toxic alpha male, but also notably Jin is Minho and Dae's bully from like middle school.
Oh, okay.
So everyone hates him.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And at that like queer DJ dance night that we briefly mentioned above, they kind of like flirt. They end up going home together, and then Jen turns off all of Q's alarms, so he almost misses the race. So then Jin gets first and Q comes in second. But then they start dating, and they really like date for most of the season.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little secret at first because they don't want to tell anyone. And then they get caught.
Also, I was just sorry. Q gets injured, and so then not Q, Jin gets injured, so then Q ends up getting to run the race that he didn't qualify for the first time, and so there's also
Yeah. I struggle with this relationship because obviously we're coming off like Florian and Q in season 1, which I thought they were really cute, but just like not a good match. And Florian cheated in school and Q just couldn't get over that. And so I think there's issues there. But I don't know. Then they bring in this character and I'm like, this guy's also not likable. I just want someone who is likable for Q. Like Q is so likable and so lovely and so fun that I want someone who I can like. And I just don't think I like him. And I don't think there's enough of a strong resolution. Like they don't have a big conversation regarding why he sabotaged him for them to like move past that. Like if someone sabotaged me in like the thing that I'm really, really good at, like Q is an athlete, that's his thing, I wouldn't be able to just move past that and be like, oh, now we're dating. Love you.
I have notes.
Okay.
Number 1, I like Jin. I don't always love him, but one of my very first notes about him is I think I like this angry twink. I feel like there's so many gay people in the show and they're all so nice that we needed a mean one. They also have a conversation about it. Like it's not great, but Jin explains that like his dad was an Olympic runner and this is a huge deal in his family and he feels like he can't, like it's very much about living up to expectations. And so, and he does apologize as well. And then that's also what makes it
enough for me.
That's fair. It was enough for Q. And then that's also what makes it interesting that when he gets injured, he's learning that he like really likes life without running, so much so that he pretends to be injured longer than he actually is. And I just kind of appreciated that storyline for such a side character, honestly. There's also a good moment where Dae and Minho confront him about all the bullying. And it's hilarious.
We get to talk about this messy ass ski cabin trip. I think it's episode 5, might be episode 4. They are all going up to Minho's dad's ski cabin for what they thought was going to be one night, but then it ends up getting extended because there's a blizzard and they're all snowed in. They're celebrating
Solal, it's Lunar New Year, which is that was 2 days ago as of recording this. Chinese New Year, same thing.
Okay. So they're celebrating Lunar New Year. They're all going up, and then Minho's dad is supposed to meet him the next day, but ends up not meeting him and hanging out with Minho's brother instead. And while on this trip, so much happens. Right before this trip, right before they leave for this trip, Yuri is helping Kitty on this journey to find her family, which means that they end up late to an art show of Juliana's. And Juliana really emphasized to Yuri, like, it is very important for me to have you there. I need you there. And Yuri's like, yeah, I'll be there. Well, she shows up at the absolute end. They have a big fight. Juliana's pissed. And then they're getting ready to go on this ski trip. And inside the dorm, Kitty and Yuri are talking. And they end up kissing. Yeah, this is before the ski cabin trip. And Minho walks in and sees them.
Keeps it a secret.
Keeps it a secret. And then they all go on this ski cabin trip. The reason I prefaced all of that is because on the ski cabin trip, Q tells Kitty, you need to write a love letter, just like your sister did.
LJ told her.
Oh, that is true. LJ told her to write a love letter over winter break to Yuri, like a goodbye letter. And so she does. She keeps it in her nightstand at the dorm, which is very weird to me. You're kind of asking for someone to steal it, in my personal opinion.
A little box.
And so this love letter ends up on the ski trip, and it's kind of being like passed around from group to group. Like Eunice thinks that Dae wrote it about her, and Dae's like, I'm not a writer. Like, why would you think that I wrote this?
Because also it's generic and has no names. Which wouldn't do anything for me, honestly.
And then Stella's like, oh, Minho, you wrote this for me. And then it kind of comes out that like,
Madison thinks Minho wrote it for her.
oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Stella's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, Stella's nowhere to be found because guess who stole the fucking letter? Snoopy McSnooperson. And so...
But it gets to Yuri, and when Yuri reads it, it's like undeniable that it's about her and Kitty.
Which leads to Yuri and Juliana breaking up.
Because she admits that she kissed Kitty.
And also while all this is happening, this is also when Day finds out.
It's like kind of around this time that he finds out that Minho had feelings for Kitty, because I think it's so Minho comforts Kitty and then comes back and Stella's like asking about them and he's like explaining and Day overhears them and then they start fighting and their friendship is ruined because of the drama.
Yeah.
But he comforts Kitty by getting in a hot tub fully clothed.
With a turtleneck on.
Like, literally, get to your boxers, boy. You don't have bits up there. There's no point. Those are thousands of dollars in clothing. It just ruined the gesture for me.
Yeah.
Not that I needed to see him shirtless, but we've seen him shirtless before.
Yeah, we have.
I was really worried about the clothes.
I was less worried about the clothes and I was more worried about how large this hot tub was. There's like 8 of them there and they are taking up a third of the hot tub. A normal hot tub fits 4 people. And this is just at someone's cabin. It's not like at a resort.
Okay, well, it's at Kris Jenner of Korea's cabin, so it's probably a resort to us plebs. Also, I just wanted to clarify that the moment when he gets in the hot tub fully clothed to comfort Kitty is not the moment when there's 8 of them in the hot tub. Those are 2 separate moments. Yes. Do you have more to say about the hot tub?
No, that whole trip, like the way we described it, didn't make it sound that messy. It's messy. That whole episode is messy.
It's also when everyone finds out about Jin because Q snuck him on the trip. It's also Day finds out that Eunice, I think it's on that trip or right before, Day finds out that Eunice is actually not rich. She's just been pretending.
On that trip, yeah.
Yeah, there's like lots of stuff in there. It's very fun. And the cast has repeatedly referenced that episode as the episode they were most excited for people to see. It's a great mid-season episode. I was also glad that there was a blizzard and they got snowed in because, again, it is January. And it is a mid-season episode. Getting into our next thing, I wrote this. I revised Jess's original. I don't remember. I think she titled this Kitty and Minho, and I said, no, Kitty's love interests, past, present, and future, maybe, because I have thoughts. And are these all romantic? No. Get with it. Follow along. Number 1, Day. Good old Day. Sweet little boy. They are just besties. They are besties this whole season. Kitty and Day don't have a single harsh bone in their bodies towards one another. They also don't have a single feeling left over. He's moving on with Eunice. She's moving on with 6 of the cast members. And they were pen pals, aka long distance, for 4 years. And they've been broken up for approximately 2 weeks when this season starts. Were you ever like, why are they so chill? Because I was. Like, Kitty I kind of get because she already had feelings before they broke up. But Day, that little sad puppy Day is like just chill with her.
So much happens in this show that you have to suspend your disbelief for most things. So I think this is one of those things where I was like, I guess they're friends now.
Nah, because why is he so mad that he's finna end his whole lifelong friendship with Minho after finding out on that trip that Minho did have feelings for Kitty if he's so fucking over Kitty by that point?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Also, him and Eunice, adorable, love him, happy for him. Moving on, Yuri, the kiss.
Yeah, it's cute.
I was really glad we got a kiss.
Me too.
Do we ever think that the ship is going to sail?
I'm afraid it's already sailed and I'm upset about it. I needed more than a kiss. I wanted more.
Yeah.
I need more. Because, I don't know, like, Yuri's the reason she came out as bi. It's the reason she realized she was bi. Like, Yuri is this big moment for Kitty in her like discovery of herself, and for it to just be a kiss and then that's it just does not feel like enough for me.
Kitty is also a pretty big part in Yuri's life. And they don't just kiss, like there's lead up to the kiss. Like Yuri's clearly developing feelings for Kitty, but then her breakup with Juliana, she's so consumed with that she stops talking to Kitty, and then Kitty distances herself, and that's really where it ends.
Yeah.
It's not like they had resolution. I feel like I would read a love letter and be like so much more affected by it.
Yeah.
I do wonder in part, I agree that I think it's probably sailed because it's not, of the two biggest ones, it's not the favorite. And I get why, but I also like just, I don't know. I want both is the problem. They did a good job. These two siblings have a really good chemistry with this one girl who's a lot younger than them.
Yeah.
Everyone's legal. But that to my point actually was that I think maybe that's part of why Kitty and Yuri probably aren't going to be anything more, is because there's a 10-year age gap between the actresses. I wonder if that's part of it. But I think Yuri's in a really interesting place at the end of this season because Juliana's moved on without her, and she's like finally accepted that there is room in season 3 for her to put up a fight.
I'd love to see it.
Moving on, Pravina. Pravina is the too cool girl, and the actress said she knew this character, the sapphic brown girl who's just too cool. She's been up for this character before. She was glad to finally get cast as this character. That's all that character is. She's very cool. She deserved better. She deserved better. Every time she's on screen, I was stunned, astounded, enthralled. Also, she calls her kitty cat. I love it. I'm obsessed. I want 15 of them.
Yeah. Also, like, she gives Kitty so many chances, and at one point she's like, I'm not going to go on this ski trip for you to just, like, ignore me and pay attention to Yuri, so if that's what this is going to be, tell me now. Kitty's like, no, I want you to come, and then that is exactly what it is. I'm like, Pravina, you deserve so much more. And I don't know if we're going to get into it, but it is hinted that Juliana and Pravina...
It's not hinted, they are. It's confirmed.
Together.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they make sense.
They do.
That was a spoiler that I got before watching the show. I told Jess this. I was pissed. I got a couple light spoilers from Twitter before watching the season. And then I was curious as to who this new actress was playing Pravina. And so I read a Teen Vogue online article about her because she's like not well known at all. And in it, they included multiple spoilers down to the fact that Pravina and Juliana get together at the end. And I had not seen a single episode of this season to be like, oh, this new love interest for Kitty gets together with Yuri's girlfriend by the end of it was wild to read. I was like, I need to close my laptop now and watch the entire season. Do we have more on Pravina, or should we move on to everyone's favorite fuckboy?
Minho.
Yeah. I've seen the cast ask Songhyun like how he feels about the thirsting after Minho, and like if he understands why people are so enthralled by him, and he's like, no, honestly, it kind of makes me concerned for people. He's not a good person, but although I actually think he's a really good person in this season he's a very good friend to Kitty. He partakes in illegal activities, no questions asked, doesn't need a motive, he's just there for a good time.
I don't fully understand the thirsting after him. I also don't fully understand the shipping of them. I don't know that Kitty and him are my favorite pairing. Now, will I be disappointed if we don't get more of them and get a kiss in season 3? Yes.
I told Jess, the actress, the siblings that play Yuri and Minho, the entire season watching this, I was just like, this is confirming my bisexuality. I have been questioning for the last like 6 months if I'm a lesbian, and he comes on screen and I'm like, fuck. I am in fact still attracted to the male gender. Unfortunately.
Yeah. He is like perfectly your type though.
You mean a feminine boy?
Yeah.
The same reason that makes me wonder if I'm a lesbian.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really pretty. And in one interview when people were reading thirst tweets, and someone was like, I need to have him. He was like, if you can cook a good kimchi fried rice, you can have me.
Oh my God.
And the cast were like, you're so easy. They've also repeatedly described him as the actor that's the most like their character, to which he's always like, I don't know how to take that.
That's funny. That's funny. This starts with, just like Yuri, Kitty has a sex dream about Minho, which then cues like, that sex dreams mean more than just a sex dream.
No, they don't. I need to emphasize this. I've never had a sex dream that wasn't creepy. They don't mean anything.
I've also had very strange sex dreams.
They're never the people you want.
It's true. It's true. I already kind of touched on this, but it was a little hard for me for us be thrown into season 2 and it be very like, Yuri. Oh my God, I'm living with her. Oh my God, her girlfriend. Oh my God, Yuri. Oh my God, we kissed. Oh my God. And then her just be like, oh, Minho. And I'm like, what? I just felt like it was such a hard shift.
I kind of got it because Minho was a good friend to her before the shift. He was already stepping up, like going with her to meet her great aunt, where hilariously she asks if they're a couple, and Kitty says, I would rather throw up and die. He's like stepping up as a good friend, and that's what she needs because she's always seen him as attractive. He's an objectively attractive person. But when he declares his love for her so strangely and then goes back to first class at the end of season 1, to her, he's just an asshole. And she's like seeing him as a real person and sees why Day liked him and loved him so much. It is a bit of a stark thing. Yeah. I do think similarly to how she has feelings for Yuri before she's over Day, she has feelings for Minho and Yuri at the same time. And it's more so Yuri cuts her off, which like gives me, and also Minho is like finding out about Stella at the same time. I didn't feel like the pacing was too bad. I just feel like it's messy. It does give a little like bisexuals can't choose.
Yeah.
And as a bisexual, I should be mad, but I'm not, because in my ideal life, this is how it would be. You know, I just like have all the options all the time and they're all incredibly hot.
Yeah. Fair.
And I'm not saying I would cheat on any of them. I just want the options.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the private jet?
This is so dumb, but one of the grandest gestures that Minho does is when Margot and her grandma are going to come to Korea. The flight is canceled. And this is at the very end of the episode of the season. And Kitty's so sad because how is Harmony going to get on the flight? She wasn't going to go for so long. And Minho goes, well, I have a private jet. And I'm like, that private jet's got to be in motherfucking Korea right now. And it's got to fly all the way around the world. That's like a 17-hour flight. And then it's got to fly all the way back. She could have gone on another commercial flight faster.
Agreed. Also, your private jets typically fly slower than commercial jets because they can't hold as much fuel.
I thought they were faster.
So speed faster, but they cannot hold as much fuel.
Oh, so more stops?
More stops.
Yeah, also it's just so bad for the environment because that thing's flying empty?
Yeah. At the end of the season, Kitty has her moment where she runs up to Minho in the garden because she finds out he's doing daily walks there because of course he fucking
in the sculpture garden.
Yes, because what else would Minho be doing with his time? And she learns that he's leaving to go on tour with his brother. And she's just like, can I join? And I'm like, don't you have to go home for summer, Kitty? What are you doing?
I mean, Dan's pretty cool for a white guy.
Dan.
You guys will get it. You guys will get it later. Don't worry about it.
Dan is pretty cool for a white guy.
I agree. I was like, what is her dad gonna say? But like her cool stepmom will she'll be on board.
Be like, Dan, you gotta think about her life and what she's gonna experience if you let her do this.
But also, real question, do you want season 3 to be them on tour, or will you be okay if it's them back at Kiss after the tour? Because low-key, I think I would need a tour season. I think I need a Jonas LA.
I don't know about that. I think we need them back at school the following year, but we need the first episode to be tour.
Or they're back at school and we get flashbacks.
Oh, yeah.
I just know if they're going on tour first they're hooking up and then something happens and they're going back to kiss feeling very awkward and they haven't talked about whatever happened on tour, and it's going to be like the first half of the season is the rest of the cast trying to figure out what happened on tour.
Yeah.
Like if it doesn't play out that way, come back and find this video and like tell me I was wrong. But also if it does, I think everyone listening owes me $20 and I'm pretty confident I'm going to be rich.
Yeah. Me too, honestly. Okay. Would you like to get into this?
Oh yeah, we're still on Kitty and her love interests. And this love interest is her own bravery and delusions, aka herself. This is the section where I felt it was most appropriate to list many of the chaotic things that Kitty Song Covey does. Catherine Song Covey, Kitty, if you're her friends, you can call her Catherine. That's how she introduces herself to Peter Kavinsky. Shout out, I've seen that movie a lot of times. Number 1, at the start of this season, Gina, Yuri's mom, is just randomly at a resort, relaxing, dating yoga instructors. She needs answers from her related to the mom stuff. So she starts calling multiple resorts to track down this woman who was her principal, is her friend's mom, is going through a divorce, just met the fully grown man that she birthed when she was a teenager and gave up for adoption. Like, there's a good reason why she has gone fully off the grid. And Kitty says, no. I need to find out who Simon was. And she calls multiple resorts. Mm-hmm. The gall.
Mm-hmm. This is the time of the episode that I would like to remind people that people who are rich and wealthy, especially we see them with paparazzi, we know that they have a big following, do not stay under their names. People stay under aliases. Mm-hmm. We cannot be calling hotel rooms being like, can I speak to Gina Lim? And the front desk agent being like, oh yes, matter of fact, let me fucking connect you right away. Nah, she'd be staying under an alias.
Also, most places probably wouldn't give that out, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say, was that that's like a confidentiality thing or like it's just inappropriate.
So you can call and ask to be connected to someone, and if you knew someone's alias, there is a chance that they would connect you. Mm-hmm. But they would call you and say, I have blah, blah, blah on the line. Can I put them through? They wouldn't just send the call to your room. Yeah. Also, she would not stay under her own name.
Yeah. She's not famous, but still.
They have paparazzi following them everywhere.
This is Yuri's famous because she's an influencer, which I forgot until Kitty's cousin was like, oh my God, I'm such a fan. Yeah, either way, I still think it's rude as fuck. Next part of Kitty, her own bravery, delusions, coming out to like literally first episode, she's confronting Minho. She's like, you know what? You're being fucking weird. I know you told me you loved me a week ago, but you're being weird. It's messing up our friend group. Calm the fuck down. Then she goes to Yuri and she's like, I'm bi. And I'm like, the bravery. Yeah. Like, she's crazy, but she's so brave. This girl's like 15?
Yeah.
That's 16, maybe?
Yeah.
Nuts. Anyway, could never be me. Maybe. We'll see. 5 years in therapy. Breaking into the school records. There's a heist episode. It involves Minho and Pravina because nothing's messier than bringing your 2 current love interests on a heist. Everyone's looking hot in their black. Pravina's speaking really bad Korean. Who's breaking into school records when you almost got expelled 2 months ago? So sorry for all of the audio spikes and anyone listening with headphones. She does lose confidence in herself. And it was honestly a little nice to see Kitty humbled. Mm-hmm. It was a little nice to see her faltering after all of the chaos that she ensues. However, as we mentioned, Peter Kavinsky is in this season. Thank you, Noah. And he gives her a pep talk. And it's so sweet. And then she gets back to full Kitty
chaos.
Yes. Really culminating in that final performance of Days where she texts the principal of her school where she was almost expelled to, and I quote, haul ass to the show.
Oh, I just really love her confidence. Like, who gave it to you? Like, you should not have permission to be this confident, but that's hilarious.
It's reminding of earlier today. I met one of Jess's acquaintances who apparently has a 4-year-old who will just like sit in the lap of of a stranger's lap. She'll take snacks away from other kids nearby, and like this is the level of Delulu confidence that Kitty has.
Yeah, but in like a teenager versus a 4-year-old.
Yes, exactly. Okay, those were all of like the main like things we could put in a plot, but we have some other details because what do? We yap.
Yes, we do. Quick thing I want to talk about is in season 1, all the episodes were titled different acronyms. Is that what that's called?
I think technically it's called an initialism.
Okay. They're all titled with initialisms. So it's like WTF, TBH, BYOB. And I thought they were going to keep that up because I thought that was very cute and clever. They did stick with the theme for season 2, which I appreciate. All of the titles are with kiss in the name. So Kiss of Death is one of them that stands out. But they have kiss in the name.
Which is the name of the school.
Yes. So, like, I get it, but I wish that we kept up the initialism. I really liked it, and I think that would have been cute if they kept that up through all of the seasons, but maybe they ran out of things to title them. The other quick thing we kind of touched on, we got 10 whole episodes in season 1. It's a shame they only gave them 8 episodes for season 2. Though also I'm like, so much happened. Maybe I didn't need 2 more episodes because what the hell else would have happened, but...
Jess and I mentioned this while getting ready to record this episode. There's a whole plot line where Day's dad gets severely injured, like temporarily paralyzed in a car accident. And we didn't even put it in the outline because, frankly, not that important to the plot. That's how much happens in these 8 episodes. So while I kind of agree, I don't really care because I felt like it was a complete enough season, and the way that it ended was like satisfying enough for me of like, oh, she's going on tour and also it's a tonal change. The only thing was like, it's a lot of months. If we're still in January in episode 4 and all of a sudden it's summer vacation, that was like, damn, time really be flying. That pacing felt a little weird. Also just like my brain likes the symmetry of seasons that are the same number of episodes. Jess has a question that I can't really answer, but
I just was curious. Would people be out in high school in Korea? Because from what I was reading online,
no.
Unclear, but it was leaning towards no. Like, a lot of people don't even date, like straight people don't even date in high school in Korea. Like, school is quite strict over there. So I was like, this feels, I get it's an international school, but there's just like a lot of out queer people. And I'm like, this feels fantasy.
Yeah, the way that you said we have to suspend our disbelief, this has always been my biggest point of that. And that's part of what's really beautiful and powerful about this show is that it is a gay ass show taking place in a homophobic country. When I was teaching there in 2016, 2017, it was still that there is a pride. It's not a parade. It's just like an area, like a festival. And there's more people protesting it than there are attending it. The sentiment usually is more like being gay is like a foreigner thing, not a Korean thing. And also bullying in Korean schools is a huge deal. Like kids kill themselves. Sorry, trigger warning. Kids yes, unalive themselves regularly because of how bad bullying is in middle school and high school. So I don't imagine it in a Korean school. In an international school, it's way easier to suspend disbelief. I also appreciate that Yuri's mom isn't the best at, like, she tries to accept her daughter, but is also like the reason that Juliana was sent away and then is also struggling in this season, because that would have really been like the least believable, as if this affluent mom, especially with Yuri being in the press, that would be really controversial. Like, I don't think I could name an out Korean celebrity. There's like been maybe 2 prominent ones. Yeah.
Okay.
And those are celebrities.
Yeah.
And yet there are some gay clubs in Korea, but they're all in Itaewon, which is the neighborhood of Seoul that is the foreigner neighborhood.
Okay.
Like not everyone there is a foreigner, but a lot of them are like Koreans who have lived abroad and moved back. There's a lot of foreign businesses. It's where the one English bookstore is. And there's like a couple gay clubs there. And yet these kids go to a teen queer club.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a one-off. It's a teen queer club. Like this is a thing that they go to regularly. Where the hell is that?
Yeah.
Where the hell is that existing?
Yeah.
Am I just not in the loop? Have things really changed since 2016? I hope so.
I hope so.
And then just mentioning on the queer rep, there was another how to spot a straight girl. Her nails are way too long to be gay comment from I think you when they were at the queer club when Day was like looking for girls, and I just didn't love it.
Yeah.
Because we just had one in Sex Lives.
Yeah.
Okay, more gay shit.
In this season, during the Cherry Blossom Dance, we get a Chapel Roan song. We get Picture You during straight plotline scenes. There's so much gay shit, as we're talking about, in this season, in this show in general. Why are we playing Picture You over the straight scenes? I was like, this is a crime. Like, I did not love it.
I didn't notice it, but I can attest that many people on Twitter were up in arms because that was one of the spoilers I got. Absolutely no student dorms would have kitchens like this. One point Q is cooking a whole big meal. We've seen it before. We saw it in season 1. Minho loves to cook, but they're cooking so much
It
stuff.
has an island.
An island with a stovetop.
Yeah.
The kitchen, first of all, is nicer than any kitchen I had living in a Korean apartment. I had maximum 2 burners at a time. But also, I think I had a kitchen that nice in my apartment-style dorm when I was an upperclassman in college. Liability-wise, they would never give you that much access to cooking. The knives, the heat, the stovetops. Teenagers?
Yeah.
With all that?
Yeah.
Even a flat top? No.
Yeah.
You can still set stuff on fire. We already mentioned it. I absolutely adore when Madison clocks Stella's nose job. Hands down, Madison is one of the best characters. I love her. I hate her. I love to hate her. I love her. I hate her when she first shows up. And then I'm like, she's like Kimberly in Sex Lives, where I'm like, unfortunately, as a foreigner who lived in Korea, I have known a lot of Madisons. And yet somehow she really charms her way into my heart.
At the end of this season, a big thing that happens is we learn that Kitty applies for a scholarship renewal and it gets approved. She was just supposed to have 1 year on her heritage scholarship at KISS, but she applies for a 2nd year. So this kind of hints at another season, another year of chaos, which is exciting.
If we don't get another season after that, I'm going to be mad. First of all, I also forgot it was 1 year until literally that last episode when Q was like, well, the year's almost over and Kitty has to go home for good this time. And I was like, again? We got to deal with this shit again?
Yeah.
How is Kitty's scholarship getting renewed? We haven't seen her in a class besides music management this whole season. And last season, she had terrible grades. Everyone had to help her study. This girl's never been in a classroom at KISS.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. Convenience, kitty magic, kitty chaos, kitty magic. One of my favorite little moments, little details that they threw in is at one point when Kitty was snooping on Stella, she tries logging into her computer and the first passwords that she guesses are WWJD and Minho. WWJD is the one that really took me out. I was like, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Also, it could really be Stella's password.
But it wouldn't be because she's too smart to make it something that people could guess, I think.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to point out this season had something the other season didn't, which was a lot of references or mirrors, for lack of a better, I know there's another word, but it's escaping me, to all the boys I've loved before. So there's a moment where Kitty fakes fainting on a track, which is something that Laura Jean does right before she but Peter comes and gets her, and that's when they start fake dating.
Yeah.
And Minho gets Kitty when she fake faints. He gets to her before Day does, I think. Yeah. Also a love letter being exposed to everyone. And this is where I'm like, Kitty, did you learn nothing from your own manufactured chaos? Like, LJ told you to write a letter and you thought that was a good idea? Yeah. And you thought you should bring it with you to school? Yes. Write the letter and then burn it.
Yes, or throw it away.
Yeah, something symbolic. Yeah. Also, the hot tub scene. There's a great scene in the first movie where LJ gets in a hot tub with Peter and she's wearing her nightgown.
And that's also on a ski trip.
Also on a ski trip, and it's when they first start dating. Well, when they realize that like they're not just fake dating. And so I get that like she got in her nightgown and so Minho got in his clothes, but her nightgown was nothing compared to all of his clothes. A turtleneck.
Yeah.
And also Peter visiting. And obviously Janelle Parrish is also in this. I just think like shout out to Noah Centineo because out of everyone from the cast of To All the Boys I've Loved Before, he's definitely had the biggest career post the success of the franchise. No one's been out of work, but he's had the biggest. I think he became like a heartthrob after that and did a number of Netflix movies. He recently was in War, which is an A24 movie that's coming out soon with Kit Connor and a bunch of other like big Hollywood up and coming people. And I think so often when people's like star power really takes off after a project, they don't want to go back to it.
Yep.
So I was kind of surprised that he did come back. I thought that was really touching. And it was just like really nice to see Peter Kavinsky before because like I forgot what a hold he has on me. And I don't think of Noah Centineo as that guy anymore, but he slipped right back into him.
Yeah, he did great.
Yeah.
It was really nice to have him there. And it was like, because the season was such chaos, he almost like grounded it.
Yeah, because he has such a like chill energy compared to Kitty, who definitely has undiagnosed anxiety. I do have questions about how he was there for a collegiate lacrosse tournament. Sure, maybe there's a Korean college that plays lacrosse. It's really not that common of a sport, though.
Especially like in the US alone, it's not that common.
No.
And so I can't imagine it's common in Korea.
No. I think it's the national sport of Canada.
Yeah, that checks out. Or England.
It was invented in Canada. I don't know if it's the national sport. Hockey might be the national sport, but lacrosse is definitely like the national summer sport.
Yeah, strange.
I miss Seoul. That's the one thing that I love about this show is that it is filmed in Seoul. A lot of shows are not filmed where they say they are. A lot of things will be like filmed in they'll say that it's in New York, but it's filmed in Vancouver or Montreal. This is so clearly filmed in Seoul. I recognize some of the streets. They go to a shop or a store that like a lot is really popular, and also like there's so many drone shots and it just makes me miss it. It also like looks way nicer on camera than it does in person for sure, and like doesn't smell as bad, but it still makes me miss it. Oh, I also had one other note about Noah, which is that I do judge people's Korean while I watch this show. Do I have the authority? No. That's okay. Don't worry about it, baby. I judge people's Korean, and obviously the native Korean speakers speak better than I ever could. They're incredible. The others, not so good. Anna, atrocious. Pravina, pretending that she actually spoke it. Granted, she did not really speak it. The actress had to learn beforehand. Not good. Her accent is like really all over the place. Noah shows up and he goes, 안녕하세요. Better than anyone else in the foreign cast.
Oh my God.
I was like, this man has said this before.
Yeah, that's
Of course, it's Noah Centineo that can just like pull that out. I think it also like naturally comes from his like lower voice. But anyway, getting into quotes now.
My strongest opinions are things I know nothing about, which Mr. Moon said. But I also was like, this is also Donald Trump.
This is also just any man in power.
True.
This is the messiest line that they wrote probably because Yuri says this to Juliana when Juliana's feeling insecure about Kitty butting into everyone's lives. Shortly before Yuri and Kitty kiss, Yuri says she's not busting into this relationship. Subtle.
Kitty in the hot tub to Minho, I'm pretty sure, says, no thank you. My plan was to stay here until I shrivel up like a prune and die. Should be any minute now. And the way she delivers it is just comedy gold. It's so funny. And also, like, we've all been there. Where you're like, I need to just stay here until I no longer exist anymore. Please leave me alone.
One of my favorite recurring bits is Q while he's still hiding his relationship with Jin. Like in multiple episodes, when he needs to get out of a situation, he tells his friends, runners get the runs. It's a thing. Runners get the runs. And he's just like telling everyone he has diarrhea.
Yep.
As someone who ran for years, is that a saying?
So they do no, it's not a saying to answer your question, but they do purposely place porta potties throughout the race because just like sitting in hot water, like can do it too. Like exercise can get your body moving. So sometimes I wouldn't say it gives you the runs, but yeah, but sometimes you might need to take a quick mid-run stop.
There's a moment, I don't remember who says half of this. I think it might be Day, might be Yuri. Not gonna be fully sure. It happens when they're in the hospital with Day's dad. And someone says, we're gonna go get some snacks. And Minho says, it's my intermittent fasting this week. Like, read the room.
Yeah, this next one is so good.
I appreciated it when Peter's there. He's like, I want to get something special for LJ. And Kitty's like, like her eyes just light up. And just with that, he knows. And he goes, it's not a ring, Kitty. We are 22 years old.
Yeah.
Which I really like because they have been together. This is 4 years after the final movie. So they've been together for like 6 years almost at this point. They're like finishing college. And a lot of people would think that like that's a reasonable time to get engaged, and it might be, but also to be like, we're 22.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. I like it.
Also, when Kitty's feeling self-conscious, the pep talk that he gives her is, since when do you care about looking like a freak? And I was like, so real, Peter.
Yeah. Rude, but also real.
Yeah, it really reminded me that Kitty was like the bonding point of Peter and LJ. Like not just sending the letters, but it was when part of their contract was that he'd drive them to school every day.
Yeah.
And she gets in the car and she's like, Kitty song Covey, or Catherine song Covey, Kitty to my friends, you can call me Catherine. Yeah. And like very quickly his goal is to win her over and like their friendship. And yeah, I just love it. I love it. Jiwon, the cousin to Kitty, when learning about her life, says, Dan sounds cool for a white guy. And I just really appreciated that like in a Western show, they wrote that in because that is how a lot of people talk, especially when you like people of color are talking about white people. And yes, we are both white people, but don't worry, we have friends. Anyway, it's just like a natural way to talk that I think often isn't written into shows because it's like controversial. Yeah. I liked it.
This is Yuri and Kitty, and it is Yuri to Kitty. You haven't been answering any of my texts, calls, DMs. Don't you just hate when that happens?
Yuri had been ignoring all of Kitty's calls and texts up until then.
Yep. And then Kitty reverses it. Oh, this one is good.
Thank you. And ending on maybe the best quote, other than I can clock a rhinoplasty from anywhere, is Kitty about Stella. I will drop sorry, restart. Sorry. Take two. And I will drop kick that bitch faster than she can say have a blessed day. The vim from Kitty. She's growing up.
Yes. I don't know if you saw it on socials today, but there is a reel that went out where they are trying Korean snack foods as a cast. And I guess that there is a Korean, like, it looked like a cookie called Binch.
Yeah.
That they all love. Yeah. And they were all talking about how much they love it. And Kitty said that the actual line.
Anna said
that the actual line is, I will drop kick that Binch faster. But they realized that actually watching the show, no one would understand that. So then they had her go into the studio to record over it. But I thought that was very interesting.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Binch is good. It's just like a biscuit with chocolate on it.
That's what it looked like. It looked delicious.
Yeah, we used to have them in my office at the school all the time.
Do you have any other final thoughts?
I hope we get a renewal. I hope that we see Minho and Kitty together. But I also still hope that it's gay as fuck. You know? And I want some tour flashbacks. And you all owe me $20 when they start the third season, fresh from tour. It's the new semester, and their things are weird between them, and their friends have to find out what happened on tour. Schedule the Venmo.
Truly. I'm hoping for all of the same things. I really hope we get a season 3. And with that, up next, we're getting into some very exciting Hannah Montana. I was going to say classic content, which is going to be Hannah Montana. I can't believe it took us this long into doing this podcast to get to Hannah Montana, but I'm very excited about it. Hannah Montana is one of the reasons we decided to start this podcast in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're excited.
Mm-hmm.
Please follow us on all our social media, 90s Babies Nostalgia. Spell out the word 90s on YouTube and Instagram, but use numbers on TikTok. Also rate and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And comment, DM, talk to us. We love hearing from you all. And with that, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.